Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Deneen and this is Design by Denine. Today, I'm participating in a challenge hosted by Carrie from Mama Dares to DIY and Keisha of Sweet Urban Rose. And they have tasked us to do something unique and interesting with these Dollar Tree mini Christmas trees. So I've done 2 projects. I hope you like them. I would love to know which one is your favorite. I know which one is mine. The second one is mine. So stick around for the second one. So I have linked to both of Keisha and Carrie's channels in the description box below, as well as the playlist, and I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see what people have come up with. I'm sure that most people were more creative than I was. Struggled a little bit with this one. Here we go. So for this project, we're going to start out with 2 of the Dollar Tree mini trees in green. So I'm only going to show you everything mostly on 1 tree, but we'll be doing it for 2 trees. So you're going to remove the bottom pieces, you won't be needing those, and then we're just going to bend all the branches sideways so that they lay flat. And then you're going to sort of spread them out so that there's not a lot of open spaces. So for this next piece, I'm going to use a small disposable cup. And this will serve as the bottom pot for our tree. So we're going to cut our cup in half. Next, I took it and placed it on a piece of poster board and just traced around the edges and cut out a small piece of poster board, just like this one. And then you attach it into the back section of the cup using hot glue. So for this next piece, if you prefer, you could just spray paint or even use craft paint on your cup. I went with Christmas wrapping paper, so I cut a small piece of Christmas wrapping paper and hot glued it onto the cup. Because the bottom of the cup narrows, the wrapping paper didn't sit perfectly flat, so I just cut a piece of glitter ribbon and added that. And then you're going to attach your little mini bucket onto the bottom of your tree using hot glue. I found it's easiest to do it on the back side and then lay it down and push it into the back side of the bucket. So all of these little decorations are from Dollar Tree, and I got 2 of these little bell ornaments for the tops of each of the trees. And to decorate the rest of the trees, I used an assortment of silver and red mini baubles and pre-wrapped mini presents. Once the trees were all decorated, I decided to add a little bit of garland using these gold beads from Dollar Tree. So I added this onto each of the trees. This is way easier to do if you have the trees standing up. And then I just attached it here and there with hot glue. So once both of your trees are done, the last step is to take some ribbon, and I just used this thin ribbon from Walmart. And you're going to attach 2 lengths on the lower and upper portion of the trees, between the 2 trees. And the length of the ribbon that you use will depend on how far apart you want your trees and how many Christmas cards you have. I don't really even get Christmas cards anymore, so I had to make these little ho 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 cards to go on my card holder. You can fill it up with Christmas cards or ho 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 cards, whatever works best for you. I cut out a piece of poster board to fit around the 2 foam blocks. I cut my piece 9 by 21 inches, so I left about 3 inches all the way around. So before we attach the foam blocks to the poster board, I painted them white, and you can use just craft paint. I used some acrylic craft paint here. So while you're waiting for your foam blocks to dry, you can cover your board in wrapping paper. I cut a piece of red Dollar Tree wrapping paper, foil wrapping paper, and you want to cut it just a little bit bigger than your board. And you're going to first glue down the long edges with hot glue, and word of warning, it's still really hot through the foil wrapping paper, so be careful you don't burn your fingers. For the ends, fold the corners over like you would when you're folding a present, and that way you'll have a nice clean corner. So here's our finished board. It looks like one of those old cake plates. So I pre-measured and marked a spot on my board. You can see my little marks with my silver Sharpie so that I knew where to put these. So first you're going to glue your 2 foam blocks together, and then you're going to glue them down onto the board in your marked area so it's nice and centered. We're going to take our white mini tree and we are going to cut all the branches off using wire cutters. And I can tell you, after doing this more than once, it actually is way easier if you fold all the branches out before you start. And it's also a good idea to put them into little piles of different sizes. Next, we're going to take all those little branches and we're going to stick them into the foam all the way around. You don't need to use hot glue or anything. These will just poke right in there. And you're going to work your way around the whole thing, keeping sort of the longer ones in the corners and the smaller ones along the sides. And you want to do sort of 2 levels, a lower level and an upper level. And here is what it looks like when it's all done. Next, I took my silver garland, and this is a really nice big fluffy silver garland. And I just took it and I threaded it through the branches, sort of going between the upper and lower ones all the way around. And this just really fills everything in really nicely and gives it that little pop of silver. Next, we're going to take our little silver votives and we're going to center them on the foam and pre-mark them where you want them so you don't have to muck around once you've got your hot glue on there. So now I took my leftover piece of garland and I just hot glued one little corner down, and then I just wrapped it kind of in a figure 8 around the votives. And at the end I pulled the other end through and glued it down on the other side. Now it's time to add a little bit of color. So here's our poinsettias. These are the larger ones. And I started by adding a splash of the red onto either end, and then I also added the silver ones, 2 on the front and 2 on the back. I put a couple of the small red glitter balls in the front sort of corners, and silver mini glitter baubles on all 4 corners. And then it needed a little bit more red, so I popped in 2 of the larger poinsettias between the 3 votives. And then I also added in some of the smaller silver poinsettias. I put 2 on each end above the larger red poinsettias and 1 on the front and the back in the center. And for that final last minute afterthought, I found a large red glitter bauble in my craft stash, and I popped a couple of those in on either side to kind of even out the color. And here is our silver and red glitter centerpiece, all done and all ready to go on my Christmas table, which I will be doing up shortly, and I'll be sure to share with you guys.